Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the organization committee and the scientific committee for allowing me to give this talk to you. So, as I say, I will talk about this idea of universal central extension in the category of Breit-Cross models. For doing that, I will try to explain step by step what means by universal central extension of Breit-Cross models. So I will try to start explaining who is a central subobject or a perfect object that I will need for doing that. I will try to explain how we obtain the Breit-Cross models that already has been told in the previous talk. And in the third step, I will talk with an universal central extension in some kind. So all of this will start with one question. And it is when in groups two arrows commute. All my talk will start with this idea of abelianity. We will try to say this, but in an elegant way. When two arrows commute? Well, they commute in groups when the images in G will be commutative. But this is not very categorical. One can do one more step, and we have that these two arrows are commutative if the product of the arrows with the group structure is a group morphism. Okay, we also have elements, so we need to take out the elements to try to internalize in any category. So we have that they commute if we can find a morphism verifying that diagram. So one can try to do this, where the sigmas are the canonical injections in the product, and that morphism is unique, and if it exists, then the two arrows commute. So, okay, we have some very good property. We need to have that injections, and we need to have the products. But we can internalize to any category what means two arrows to commute in any category with the products and zero objects. And that's the definition. We have an unique morphism verifying that diagram. This idea of commuting arrows will allow us to talk about the center of an object in category and the abelianization of an object in a category. In the Hughes center, I will talk here about the Hughes ideas. So, starting with this, in the case of groups, again, we can talk about the center of a group. It's already known, it's the element that verifies that it commutes without the others in the group. And we can talk when a subgroup is central. That is what I am trying to find, a central object. In this case, we have that equality. But if we read this a little more, we have that the inclusion of the elements of H will be commute with identity in the elements of G. So a subobject is central if and only if the inclusion commutes with identity. And again, this is internalizing. So we can say that as a central subobject in some categories will be central if the inclusion commutes with the identity. And this will recover the idea from the case of groups. So this is when we think about this, but okay, we have a central subobject, but the center of an object will be the biggest of all of that. So we have a categorical property, and we have the biggest. So that seems that it is a universal property. So we can define, and Hume defined in 1968, the idea of center of a category with good properties. In this case, with their objects and products. And it will be a central subobject such that it is the final central subobject in the category of central subobjects. In this case, we have the definition of center that we will talk about in the category of Breit-Cross models. This is for the idea of trying to found this kind of abelian groups. We have subgroups, but we can go in the other way. We can talk about when a quotient will be abelian. So we can do the same. We have a quotient in groups, and it will be abelian if only if the periodic places commute. That's trivial, everybody knows that. But how can we categorify this? When we try to say, okay, if we then that means that the natural projection commutes with itself. So we can define an abelian quotient in any category with products and co-kernels, because we believe that projections, as a normomorphism that commutes with itself. So we have this idea of commuting arrows that allow us to define the two things, the idea of center and the idea of abelian quotient. We can say a little more. We can say, okay, in a group, we have the idea of commutator. That is the subgroup generated by the element that commutes. So, okay, the quotient is the biggest abelian quotient, and the realization is that quotient. So again, a universal property, since we are talking about projections, it will be an initial universal property. So Hugh defines again the realization as an abelian quotient that is the initial of all the abelian quotients on an object. So we can define that two ideas, the idea of center and the idea of abelianization. But we can do one more step. We already saw that in the case of groups, we have a very, very important group, that is the commutator. And the commutator is the one, the normal subgroup, by the one I am quotient. So, okay, if I have a category of kernels and I also have kernels, one can define the commutator subobject as the kernel at that morphism. This commutator is one of more than a half. It is called the Hugh commutator of a category with properties. So that's a little of this idea of with things we are working with. We will work with the commutator, that is one can obtain doing that, or the center. Why it is important, the commutator? Okay, in groups it measures how much non-abelian is a group. If the commutator is triggered, the group is abelian. That's one thing that one can do in category to talk about abelian objects. And if the commutator is all the group, then it has no trivial abelian quotients. So it's the fastest for being abelian. These kind of groups have a name. They are the perfect groups. So we will call an object to be perfect if it is the same as its commutator. I introduced this idea of perfect object because I will use that when we talk about universal representations. So that's a little of the ideas. We want to talk about something that is abelian, but far away from the category of groups. So, what is a braided cross model? Step by step, a cross model of groups were introduced by Whitehead in 1949, trying to study a model for two types of homotopy spaces. They are already defined in the previous talk. It will be a pair when we have an axiom of the second group on the first, and a morphism that works well with the axioms. We will suppose that the group G acts on itself by conjugation, and the group H works have an axiom of itself also by conjugation. So that's a red cross model. As an example, few examples, we have the identity to be a cross model, and if we take any normal subgroup, then we will have a cross model. I will talk about another example of cross model when we go to the break case. So, it is already known that cross models of groups is equivalent to the category of categorical groups, in terms of categories in groups. So, I need to say this because I want to understand what a break cross model is, for where it comes. So, if we advance a little in time, we have in the 1984, we will check that he defined again the braid cross model of groups and the two cross model of groups. And Georgian Street in 1993 proved that a braiding for categorical groups will give a braiding for cross models, and that will be equivalence. And in this case, for Georgian Street, when we talk about braiding for tensor categories. We have an internal category inside the category of groups. We take the product in the object as a tensor product, and the normal writing, a game of commutation, will give the idea from breadcross models. So what is a breadcross model of groups? It will be a breadcross model together with some map that verifies that 5 properties. And the 5 properties are right in way that it will resemble a little about the idea of commutator. One can find that in the first one of them, if without that partial as to be the identity, then really it is saying, okay, if you have the identity, that's the commutator. And we have an example of that, because we have some canonical breakings, and the first one is the cross model given by the identity, and the breaking will be the commutator. And this is very important because one of the properties, one of the theorems that we have this as an example. There is another one that is very important, that if one take the non-abelian tensor product of groups and take as a morphism the commutator, then the breaking is the tensor product. So we have that. 2 very important examples of the breaking is the commutator, and the breaking can be the tensor product. And for the ones that don't know what the non-abelian tensor product of group is, well, the non-abelian tensor product of groups is like the usual tensor product of abelian groups, but since we don't have these abelian groups, and we have groups, we need to take axioms from one group on the other, and vice versa, the one and the one, and take that relationship. So with the relationships, the non-abelian tensor product of groups gives another very good example. So we will working in this category, and the morphism will be the ones that commute with the map, that preserve the axiom and preserve the practice. So this is the category of breadcross models. So what is the universal central extension? Well, if we go again to the category theory, we have in a semi-abelian category that an extension is a regularity morphism. In the categories in which we will work, will be surjective maps or pairs or surjective maps. So we have this idea of extension. One example, we will talk in semi-abelian categories. And since we are working in ones with weak properties, we will talk what is known as the categorical notion of central extension, that is using the cube center. So we have 2 canonical morphisms, one from the kernel, one from the center. So we will say that central extension, the extension is central extension if and only if the kernel is inside the center. So that's the idea of central extension. We have we have an extension, so we take the center of the first object, the kernel, and we have the conclusion. So, as an example, we have the identity. The identity has trivial kernel, so it is a central extension. Why I am talking about that? Because it is a very good example, because if we take any other central extension, then automatically I have a unique morphism for that type of extension. So it is the final central extension in the category of extensions of an object. So one can ask, what it is the initial object in this category? Well, the initial object in this category is the universal central extension. So we are trying to found an extension, a central extension, that for every other central extension I can found a unique map, refine that diagram. So this is the thing that we are trying to find. So some examples. We have already well-known proposition. The first, if we have a group, then a group has universal central extension if and only if it is perfect. in the sense of Europe. So this is a little why I define early what perfection means. And what it is this error mental extension? Well, it is given by the non-abelian tensor product. So the non-abelian tensor product is the mental extension if only if we have that the group is perfect. And we can go a little more. We can talk now about the definition of centric in cross models of groups. In cross model of groups, we have that the centric will be something that tries to resemble the idea of central in groups. In groups was something that commutes with everything. Now we need to restrict to the idea of it commutes with everything, but actually is also trivial. And in the commutator we need to do the same, because we need to quotient to that to work. And with that definition from by Norrie, in the 1997, it was proved that in the case of cross-model groups, we also have that equivalence of universal central extension if and only if it is perfect. And show that the universal central extension will be given by that cross-model. Again, using the non-abelian tensor product of groups. The axiom is the one that's there, and we have also that isomorphism. So this is all that was already done in these categories. So in our category, the category of braid cross models. Well, in this category we can take two ways to start. If we have a braid cross model, we can study what it is the central extension in the category of braid cross models. I will call this the B central extensions. And we also found that a person work if we take the forgetful functor and we say, okay, we will take all the morphism in the category of braid cross models, but we will check if it is central in cross models. Then we have another way to study this, trying to imitate what Norrie did. So, okay, I will say a new central extension will be a braid cross model extension such that as a cross model is central. This will be a little different because, as I will say, the center in the case of braid cross models is a little smaller than in the case of cross models. And we have the same definition from the U central extensions. That means that they are the initial object. Why I'm talking about this? Because seeing the definitions, I will talk about them later, every central extension is a new central extension because the center is smaller. But not every central extension will be a central extension. And as an example, we have this with a Belgian cross model, braid cross models, and taking the projection that takes out the last element, we have this example. So this will be a new central extension that is not a B central extension. So again, Fukushi in 1998 worked with the U central extension. He takes the idea for Norrie, that braid cross model, and proves that if we have a braiding in the cross model, then it can give a natural braiding in the cross model given by Norrie. And it's very natural because if you see this, we have the braiding and the commutator. And in fact, he proved that a braid cross model of groups has a better central extension if and only if it is perfect as a cross model. Since we are only seeing if it is central in the category of cross models, then we have the perfect in that way. So what about my own work with José Manuel Casas and Manuel Lambda? Well, we proved what was the cube center in the case of the braid cross model. And it is a little smaller. We have something that is the same, but we need to add that also the braiding must be trivial. And in the quotient, the commutator must be bigger because we also need to take out that the braiding must be trivial when commute. And we prove again that in a braid cross-module case, a cross-module has universal epicentral extension if and only if it is perfect as a braid cross-module. This is an already known thing in semi-invariant categories between properties. It is also always true that universal central extension exists if and only if it is perfect, but the new thing is the calculation. We found what it was, and it was very trivial. We have the H group, we take the nomenclature product by itself with the identity, the conjugation, and the commutator. And that works as the universal central extension. So it seems a little easier than what it is by normal. That's normal because we have a little more restrictions. So we try to say, okay, what is the relationship between these two? If we have a braid cross-module of groups, what is the relationship between them? In one part we have the central extension that works when it is perfect in braid cross-modules, and then we have the central extension that works when it is perfect as cross-modules. And as I already said, the center is different, the commutator is different. But in the case of being perfect, they are the same. They are examples of cross-modules, of braid cross-modules, such that the center and the U-center are different, but if they are perfect, they are the same. In fact, not only they are the same, but the idea of bicentral extension and U-central extension is also the same in this particular case of being perfect. And to end, if we have a universal construction with the same idea, then they are naturally isomorphic. So we go all to the center accommodated in the category of braided cross-modules, but when it was important, what it exists in the extension, it coincides with the one given by Norrie with a natural right. So all of this is already published in a recent article, and thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, so are there questions or comments?
Just a little remark on your categorical account of commuting objects, because you have this map coming out of the product, but in general it's not unique.
No,
Bourdieu and Bourdieu, they solved this problem by asking that the two arrows going in there are jointly strongly epic or jointly epic.
Yes,
Because otherwise this is not quite well defined.
Yes, that's the reason that for this I call that we need a unique coefficient, because some categories are different. The slide code it has unique.
Other questions? Comments? Just a remark. In any senior category,
Yes.
the fact that the object is perfect
Yes.
is equivalent to the fact that there exists a universal extension. It should be probably related.
Yes,
It's not about groups.
No, I know. In any category it's true. I think that the thing that is very important is the construction. We found what is the object, because we already know that it's true that in a senior category.
Other comments? If not, let's thank you.